Hi, sit down, please. Nice to meet you, Esther.
Nice to meet you.
How's it today?
Very well, thank you. What about you?
Not bad, actually. So, Esther, tell me about yourself.
Sure. So my name is Esther Song. I come from China, and my first trip to US is when I attended a World Leadership Congress held by an organization named Hobby. I was attending the China camp first 1 year before that, and I got selected into the special event. I stayed in LA and Chicago for 2 weeks, and there was a lot of fun. There were over 400 people from 3 different countries all over the world, and we signed up into teams, become really good friends. We had some guest speakers to tell us their life experience. We do some volunteer jobs, and we have some leadership and team building workshop. That was in my high school years. And after that, I came to US for college, and I'm just graduating from Ohio State University in May 2019 for my undergraduate degree. I am a human resource major, and I had 2 internships. One was in private foreign language school back in 2015. I worked as a teaching assistant and customer service. The other was in Anto International this summer. I worked as an assistant consultant.
So, since you are a human resource major, why do you choose to pursue a marketing-related job as your career field?
Okay, so when I took some of my marketing class back at school, I really loved them. I am surprised by how many common fields that HR and marketing have. They're both based on the connecting with different people and trying to bring the maximum value on both sides. Like for marketing, is to somehow balance the company and customer need, and for HR, one part of your job is to do your best to benefit company as well as the employees. I really like to know all kinds of people, and I really enjoy talking to them. I am a good listener. I can always find the communication between me and others to be very beneficial and pleasant. And during my first internship, I was very surprised by myself about how much potential energy I could have for working with clients or customers. So after I graduated, I eventually decided to change my career into marketing.
Interesting. Can you tell me a little bit more about your internship back in 2015 and what was the moment that you found out you could be really suitable for marketing? Or what specific strengths do you think you equipped for this marketing job?
Sure. So at that internship experience, at the beginning, I was actually worked only as a teaching assistant. During that time, I could get connected to the student parents as well as our customer to talk about kids' performance in school. And soon after that, during our conversation, I could somehow find that the parents were really expecting is not something that we're performing. I find myself really comfortable connecting with them, and soon there was a chance for me to actually make an achievement. The employee who used to take charge of this class left his position, and at that time there was only 4 students left in the class. And with another one gone, the class will be dismissed. So I talked to the manager about the idea that I can temporarily take over his position, and the manager thought I could give it a shot. Even if things didn't go well, the outcome would not be much worse than the current situation. So I changed the whole course structure according my understanding of the customer needs. I found that the formal class is too tight on the process plan and how many sentences the words the student remembered each class. But during the conversation with my clients, I found that what they truly care about is not memorizing the words, but instead they want their kids to enjoy the class as part of their childhood and love the language from their heart. So I cut down the reading part and emphasized on the practical experience. I designed some games and helped the student to relate the knowledge with their favorite TV character or cartoon character. I communicate with the kids very well and they all really like me. So the parents were satisfied and they talked to their friends who had the children in similar age about their children experience, and they all come to my class, and my class ended up full in position until my final leave of the job position. So I believe I have very good relationship skills with different age groups, and I'm really good at knowing my true strengths and weaknesses. I can focus on the customer and find out what they truly want.
Very impressive. So tell me one experience about your biggest challenge you have ever met in your job experience and show you managed to overcome.
Sure. So I think my biggest challenge would be my second internship. I was in a headhunter company and I worked as a assistant consultant there. So my main job is to help the consultant to do the research and making phone calls. It was very challenge filled for a new HR profession to be in a headhunter company. So because the target talents that my company deal with is usually expecting the headhunter to be very professional and experienced. They think our company should be very familiar with their company's pay structure and their employee structure and what is their salary at that time and how much they can get raised from the new job we provided. So, as an assistant consultant, I have very limited resources and experience about that company and the circumstances I'm dealing with. So, when the first time someone asked me about a very specific question and expect me to have a very certain amount of knowledge of their company, I really got freaked out and said that, oh, sorry, I'm not quite sure yet. And the one I'm talking on the phone went really disappointed at that time and he hung up. I got very stressed out and I'm really upset because I couldn't find a way to deal with this. This kind of problem is I'm not a senior who stayed in this field long enough to know all kinds of information and resources needed. But somehow I have to go through the hardest time anyway. All experience was started from zero. So I started to do all kinds of research on the target company and I asked all the senior professions how to deal with a scenario like this. I prepared some names and some conversation skills I could bring up during the conversation to make me not that awkward. So 1 week later, even though I'm still far away from experience, but at least I could make people on the other side of the phone willing to talk to me instead of being disappointed by my reaction.
So, as you know, one of the job duties for this marketing director is to provide short term and long term forecast and report. Let's assume that you couldn't get a specific forecast based on the existing research and analysis results you had. What would you tell to your boss? Would you be honest and tell him that you can't make a forecast right now because of the information and the situation, or you will still report a result?
Oh, okay. I think I would be honest with the boss and tell him that based on the information and data we have, right now we couldn't get one. Because I think if I provide a forecast with bias or wrong direction, it could it could make a much worse impact on the company and even ruin the market chain. I would tell my boss how much specific amount of time I still need to accomplish that so I can let my boss know when I can get this right. And after that, I will gather my team and collect more data until we find enough information to run the forecast.
Okay, when coming to the sales perspective, as a marketing team person, one of your job is to make sure your product line gain enough market share. So how do you feel when it comes to selling things to the people who don't need them situations? In other words, if a salesperson or an advertisement manage to make someone who had no intention and no need to spend money on this product ended up with spending the money, would you regard this as professional skills or someone or unethical?
Okay, I would probably not regard this process as unethical because I believe in some part of what marketing is to find a broadened market landscape. So there would always be changes in lives. And as long as the selling and advertising is not based on lies or over exaggerating product effect, it is still a process of making marketing changes. So if we use a joke that we always mentioned before, like someone would be regarded as talented if he can convince an Eskimo to buy refrigerators. Because in our opinion, the environment that the Eskimo live would not need refrigerators at all because there is ice everywhere. But can we say it was a waste of time to use refrigerators in a freezing place? No, there would still be some benefit about it, such as more stable temperature condition, more functions such as setting the temperatures you want, and more convenient storage of food. So I would probably say that if we could convince customer that life could get better with the product, it doesn't matter that whether they need it urgently right now.
I see. Now, if you and your team is doing some data collections and research for one product, but one of your team members falls really behind the schedule. So, in this situation, what would you do?
Okay, so I would consider this as a bottleneck situation. If one of our team member is falling behind the process, the whole team would probably be dragged down to some level. So I would suggest that one or two other members in the team who is the most efficient with their work to stop and help that other guy. It's just like a team going on a field trip. When one person is behind the line for like hypodynamic reasons, and the team would not be considered accomplished until the last one reached the destination. So the best thing we can do is let one or two other people to go to the bottleneck and help him to carry some of his stuffs, like to unpack him and try our best to help the guy to be more efficient. So that is the only way that we can make sure that the last person in our line is not too dragged down for what we did as a team.
Well, Esther, here's my last question for you. How will you describe yourself in your personality aspects? Would you define yourself as more of a feeling or thinking based person? Do you use your judging or your perceiving when dealing with products?
Um, I think in my personal life, I am a very feeling based person. I often care about the emotions and feelings me and other people perceive. I have compassion and I can always tell when other people around me feeling uncomfortable. I think this could be both my strength and weaknesses. But in workplace, I would try to be more logical and critical about my job. I don't want to be biased on some of my work because of my emotions and feelings. But I would still get a little sensitive sometimes. But just because of this character, I would be a really creative mind when we need some new ideas. I can like have some ideas and change the team's mind.
Okay, thanks.